Alright, good evening YouTubers. I'm out in the shop tonight doing some planning. I don't have the supplies I need yet to do some of the projects that I mentioned in the last video, one of the previous videos that you saw. I actually had to go out of town on an emergency basis for a funeral, so kind of lost some traction on my projects, but that's okay. So I'm out here. Step one is to hatch an idea, which I did, and I documented that in one of the previous videos. So now I'm ready for step two, which is the detailed planning. So I'm actually an engineer by nature, so we don't do anything without planning, right? So that's just how it works. So I need to go get some wood and some supplies to get the shelving projects that I mentioned in the previous video started. So I'm out here, I've got a football game on, it's Friday night, I got a beer, and doing a few videos and doing some planning, and getting ready to go get some supplies. So first thing I needed to do is do some measuring. I think I'm going to use for my shelving, I'll do standard construction that I tend to use for all these projects around here, and that's just 2x4s with some either 3/4 inch or some type of plywood or OSB for the shelving top. And I've got the other hardware like screws. That's all I'll basically need for this. So I just need to figure out how many 2x4s, what length 2x4s I need, and I need to figure out, do I need plywood or OSB, and what thickness, and how much plywood do I actually need. So I'm going to do a little measuring, walk through those couple of different shelving projects. I'll take you over there and show you what I'm up to, and then I'll go hopefully this weekend or maybe early next week after work and to the home center and grab the wood that I need. So let me walk over and reset up, and I'll show you the measurement process of how I'm going to figure out how much wood I need for these projects. Alright, so this is what I'm dealing with. Just a little recap. I want to build a shelf basically that's in line with the top of this track on this garage door. It's going to connect on this side to my shelf unit, and it's going to go down here and connect on this end to the wall in line with the garage track, and that's going to leave me 6 or 7 inches above the garage track for a shelf. So you can imagine there'll be a shelf that runs even with the top of the track over to the wall, and it'll attach on both ends. So it's simple 2x4 ladder type construction, just screwed together and then screwed to both ends, and I'll have to attach it to the concrete block on the other end. So what I need is a 2x4 stretcher that runs basically even with the back side of the track. I need another 2x4 stretcher that's going to attach to the wall, and then I need enough 2x4s to build out the pieces on the ends to attach to both ends. So I'm going to do some measuring to see how many 2x4s I need. Alright, so if I were to measure this, I need to figure out how long these are. So if I go over here to this end, and of course my tape measure is not going to cooperate. Alright, I was able to, Alright, there we go. So if I go over, and unfortunately, alright, if I go over, I see that unfortunately I'm about 8 foot 3.5 inches. So obviously I want to try to use 8 foot 2x4s because that's standard length. So looking at this, I think I can probably make that work if I double up 2x4s on each end. So 2x4 is not actually 2 inches. It's actually 1.5 width, or I guess depth, if you will. And so I need 3.5. So if I have 1.5 on one end, 1.5 on the other, that's still going to come up a little short. But if I put 2 pieces of 2x4, which I think I'm going to have to do anyway because of this garage support up here, I could put a double on each end, and then I'll be able to use 8 foot 2x4s and have to cut off just a little bit on each end. So I need at least 2 8-footers and throw in another 8-footer to do the cross pieces times 2, and that'll be plenty of 2x4 material to build this shelf. And then I actually have, since there's not going to be a lot of weight on this shelf, I actually have a piece of, I think it's 3/8 plywood here. Let's see how wide it is. So it's 19.5 wide, which is probably not wide enough. Actually, it is wide enough. So I can use, this is only going to be about 14 inches wide. So I think that's going to work perfectly. I can use that 3/8 material since I already have it and I don't plan on using it for anything. That'll be plenty strong enough to hold what I plan on putting on the shelf up here. And really the things I'm looking at putting up there are these rhino wraps and maybe some of the oil change stuff and anything else I can find that's 6 or 8 inches tall, 6 or 7 inches tall, to get off my workbenches here. And that'll do it. So I need 3 8-footers, and I already have the plywood, and I can get that shelf built. Alright, so the next shelving project was this area over here, and that was to basically extend this workbench top down into this corner that's full of crap that I want out of here. So I need to make some measurements there. So let me set up for that. Measurement. Alright, so first I need to determine how many 2x4s I need. I need to come over here to this wall and come over, and it looks like it's 5 foot and 11 inches or so. So right off the bat, that's going to be 2 2x4s for the stringers that run this way. 5 foot, that's about 3 foot left out of an 8 foot 2x4. So I need the vertical 2x4s on the one end over here, or I could just attach it to the wall. I think I won't do that. I think I'll use legs, and currently my legs are 36 inches. So 5 foot and 3 foot. Looks like it'll definitely work. So I can get 2 legs and 2 stretchers out of 2 2x4s. So if I add that to the other 3 2x4s that I need, now I'm up to 5. And I'll need some cross pieces as well. So I'll have to get another 2x4. So that's 6. So now I need 6 2x4s. And the actual top that I'm looking at using, I'll probably use the same plywood. So this is 3/4 inch plywood. So I'll need to get a sheet of that and have it ripped in half for me, just because it's easier to do it at the store and it's free, and I don't have to drag my table saw out to cut a piece of plywood down the center, because these are 2 foot wide, so exactly 2 feet. And if I go 36 inches high, I'm trying to make sure I clear these tables, because I'm gonna turn these tables back in here sideways to go up under the bench. So I need to make sure I have 30, looks like about 32, 33 inches, 33 inches. So if you take 36 and then add a 2x4 underneath, that's going to be 2.5 inches, no, 3.5 inches. 36 minus 3.5 is 32.5. So this table is actually probably going to be very, very close, if it works at all. So let's see, I'm up to 6 2x4s and a sheet of plywood, and I can get these 2 shelves finished. Alright, so the third shelving project is I want to go from this shelf across this window over and attach to the side of this cabinet unit. And they'll give me a shelf to put a lot of these gas cans and stuff like that on, or whatever else I can find that fits up there. So I need to measure out how many 2x4s I need for that. So let's do that measurement and see if I can get a camera angle. Alright, so let's make this measurement. So that's 6 foot 3.5 inches. So I needed 2 more 2x4s to do the stringers going this way. So I'm up to 8, and then I'll have plenty left over to do cross pieces, a cross piece here and a cross piece here. 2 more. So yeah, so I need 8 2x4s. And then I'll have another half sheet of plywood left over from my bench top here. And I only need to come out approximately 12 inches on this shelf. So there'll be plenty left over from the new sheet of plywood for the top piece of the shelf here. The other thing I'm going to have to do is this corner of this shelf here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Yeah, so this corner right here is actually sagging just a little bit because it's not connected to the wall. So I need to prop this up and then shoot a tap con through the wood here into the concrete wall to get this shelf level. Once I do that, then I can run my stringer here and my stringer here, and I'll have a cross piece here, and then I'll have my 3/4 inch plywood on top for the new shelf, and that should work out great. So I think that's what I need. I need 8 2x4s, 8-footers, and I need 1 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. That'll get me the 2 shelves. I can use this piece of plywood here for the shelf up above the garage door. Oh, and then there's one other project, so let's go measure that one. So the last project was the over the garage door storage. So I guess what I need to measure is how long I need that. So I need to kind of measure, I guess, the garage door, which I already know is, I believe, 7 foot. So let's make that measurement now and see what I need for this project. Alright, so what I need is a 2x4 running this direction here. If I were to measure again from the wall out to where the garage door ends, it's a 7-foot door. So yeah, so I need 2 pieces that run above the door that attach to the ceiling. So now I'm up to 10 2x4s. Alright, so if I add that in, I'll need 1 over here next to the garage track, and 1 over here next to the actual rail of the garage door, and I'm going to attach them to the ceiling flat, and then I'll run some plywood, leftover plywood pieces to drop down for that. So I'm up to 10 8-foot 2x4s. I'll probably just start with that and maybe get all that done, and then I'll have to go back and get the threaded rod that's going to run across the top of the door to store all my rakes and shovels and all that junk over there in the corner. So that's where I'm at. Let's start with that. I'll go and grab 10 2x4s and 1 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood, and that'll get me started. And actually, this will probably take me a while. I only have so much time to do these projects, and it's still freaking hot. I mean, it's 80 degrees out here. The humidity is probably 100%. Obviously, it's pouring rain, and I'm sweating, and I'm complaining, and I'm just unhappy. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to accelerate my air conditioner project and make it such that I can actually work out here. It's just absolutely terrible, but I won't complain anymore. So got the measuring done, planning process is complete. I need 10 2x4s, 8-footers, and I needed a 3/4 inch piece of 4x8 plywood, and I'll run by the home center and get that, and then we'll get these projects started, and I'll make videos of each project as I go. So if you like the video, hit that thumbs up button, and please subscribe. Got a lot more content coming, so thank you.